About 10 days into our response to the unprecedented flooding caused by Hurricane Harvey, Altruist Relief Kitchen is set up and serving several communities in Northeast Houston from our base of operations on John Ralston Road. In just several hours, we set up our rapid response tent and the entire kitchen inside of it on the lawn of an event center. A bunch of supplies and the cost of porta potties was provided by the kids of New Jersey and driven down by our friend Doug. Amazing Dave led fence repair with 4 rabbis. While the Altruist Relief crew set up the kitchen and got everything ready to cook, I connected with community leaders and figured out routes where we could deliver the most amount of food to low-income communities. Mama Wendy led a bunch of volunteers to help us meet the demand for our first meal 2 days ago, while Fug kept everything clean as a whistle, and Aaron led several of our first meals. We got 6 250,000 BTU burners for the kegs. We got a fan so we wouldn't die in the Texas heat. We got our first load of wholesale fruits and vegetables. Justin managed the technical aspect of assembling the teepee, and Chris spearheaded the prep. Organic Valley delivered cold food to us in a refrigerator truck, and FFRE donated propane. Victoria set us up to serve our first meal to funky old folks in a senior apartment complex. That first night on our trial run, we served about 50 meals to the old folks. Then we came back to the teepee and started prepping for our next move, figuring out the route, connecting with more communities, and getting our method down so that we could have one team cooking and one team distributing. Between prepping and cooking, the kitchen was holding about 10 or 12 volunteers, working about 10 or 12-hour days. Every volunteer that came into the kitchen seemed to make a critical difference in the productivity of the overall operation. On our second day, we went to one distribution center and gave out 30 meals. Then we went straight over to another distribution center and gave out another 80 in the first hour. The place was super tore up, clothes everywhere, and a long line of people trying to get goods to clean out their homes. Then for dinner on that second night, we served tacos in front of the George R. Brown Convention Center, the huge Red Cross-run shelter in the center of Houston holding 9,000 people. The Red Cross people who were running the shelter and making the meals even came out to eat at our place.
Yeah, we'll get you a fork. How do I get in line for something? Here, how about a little pico? So don't say I don't think about it. Yeah, you grab one right there.
This guy liked it so much that even though the Red Cross had theoretically been serving food inside the convention center, he called in and had them announce over the loudspeakers that we were serving tacos, and then they invited us to sit up right next to the front door. We ended up serving over 220 plates of tacos on the front entrance of the largest shelter in America. Then this morning, Chris and I went down to the coast to set up an emergency kitchen and a fire hall acting as a distribution center, and trained volunteers to take over the operation when we left. Then for lunch, Natty made soup, and Laszlo and I served out 250 servings of it with chips and sandwiches in front of the convention center. One of the guys told us it was better than anything he'd had the whole time he was staying at the shelter, because they kept serving some variation of shredded chicken. Chris and Riley went back down there to serve dinner. They brought a whole keg of chili and chips and other things, and probably topped 300 meals, which means that our output is steadily increasing as we figure out our route and our distribution methods, and we get teams set up to work on each different thing. So that's what we've been up to logistically, but I mentioned we're radically financially transparent as well. Let's take a look at what that means. It means that whoever recently contributed to the $29.50 we raised on PayPal can see their initials and their amount and the date. It means that the 4 rabbis can see we took into account their cash donation of 200 ones and 10 tens. And you can see that with miscellaneous parts, propane, and gas, we spent $443. And you can see that in order to get the bus on site, it cost $407. Then if we add $700 for stoves, $200 for a website, and $70 on vegetables, then we end up with about $900 left for expenses. So that $900 we have for expenses doesn't include the money that we've raised so far in the generosity crowdfunding campaign, because we won't receive that for another couple of months. And it doesn't include 2 checks that have been mailed to us that I haven't yet seen. So that's it. That's what we do. That's how we do it. We're going to do it more. We're going to do it better. And we're going to show you what we're doing and how we're doing it as we do it. Please help us. This is not just a project to feed the lowest income people affected by a catastrophic flood in Houston. This is a new kind of aid project, approaching the method of being as beneficial as possible from a new angle, engaging the viewer in the process of being beneficial and engaging the volunteer with concrete methods of changing the world.
One day, this will all go crashing like that.